Resistance is futile.
Boldly going where no show has gone before. This is The Week in Geek with David D. Squared, your source for geek and pop culture news that's trending now. Broadcasting from the Gregory Ricks and Associates Wealth Management Studios, here's D. Squared.
Greetings, people of Earth. This is The Week in Geek, your source for geek and pop culture news that's trending now. I'm your host, D Squared. Have you followed us on Twitter yet? Follow us on Twitter at Twig Radio. Check out our website, twigradio.com. And, of course, like us on Facebook, facebook.com/The Week in Geek. All right, let me lay out the show for you real quick. I brought in a guest host for tonight's Top Nerd News. And then, of course, we'll go to our boy Skungy with his pick of the week. But let's get right into it with this week's Top Nerd News. And now, your top nerd news stories from around the world, brought to you by the Viridian Tea Company. Find them on Etsy. And now, your top nerd news stories. All right, joining me tonight for our top nerd news is my man Malcolm Banks from Fandoms Anonymous. Malcolm, how are you tonight, brother?
Man, I am lovely tonight, man. How y'all guys doing?
We're great, man. Look, we're living the dream, man. We get to talk on the radio about all our nerdly loves. So, hell yeah, man. I'm doing pretty good, man.
Yeah, you can't beat that, man. You can't beat that.
All right, so look, let's jump right into it, man. But you know what? Before we jump right into it, tell the folks a little bit about yourself and, of course, Fandoms Anonymous.
Guys, if you don't know who I am, my name is Malcolm Banks, as David aforementioned. I am from the Fandoms Anonymous YouTube channel. We're a multifaceted media organization. We're on YouTube and TikTok and Facebook and Instagram and all the little social medias except for Twitter, because I wake up and speak more than 140 characters, so I don't like to be denied more. But, guys, we're located out of Mobile, Alabama, and we just have an amazing time creating all types of content. We travel all over the southeastern United States to different conventions, interviewing celebrities. Well, we just have a good time, man. We just really have a good time. Of course, there have been no conventions.
I swear, huh?
Man, oh, my God. I don't even know how I'm still surviving.
Look, man, I mean, I don't know. Last week in Top Nerd News, I had to break the news that, Star Wars Celebration got canceled. So every time we turn around, something else is getting canceled. So hopefully at some point we'll start getting back together again. But I don't know, man. But look, I guess let's jump right into it, because we still do sort of have some movies coming out. And one of the movies that I don't even know if this movie is coming out, because Ezra Miller, punched a woman. I don't know if this movie's happening, but there was some good news coming out of the Flash movie camp that maybe Michael Keaton is in talks to play Batman in the Flashpoint movie, which, Ezra Miller or not, I want to see this damn movie, because DC, their cartoon arm, the Flashpoint Paradox is the best movie I've seen in my entire life, and I want a live-action version of it. And Michael Keaton playing the older Batman, I don't know. What do you think? Which Batman would he play as Michael Keaton, though?
It's going to have to be old Grizzly Batman, but I will say, as good as Flashpoint Paradox animated movie was, the most recent Justice League Dark with Darkseid was freaking fantastic.
Was it?
My God. Oh, watch it. Please go. Y'all, if y'all haven't watched that, please go watch it.
All right.
It is, that's all I'm going to say.
But your boy, what's his name? Jeffrey Dean Morgan, man. He would make a badass grizzled old Batman, but I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Continue.
Yeah, he definitely would, but then you're dealing with continuity issues, and that was a different move, and then you're going to get the nerds and the geeks all upset.
Yeah, we're always upset.
We're always upset. But I believe he would play the older Batman. But first of all, you made a point about Ezra Miller. I do not want Ezra Miller to be my Flash anymore. I'm sorry. I've always been very critical of DC, and a lot of people say, you just hate DC. And I watch more DC content than I do Marvel. People do not understand. And the reason is because there's only 3 Marvel movies a year and only 1 Marvel TV show. So what else is there to watch? There's a smorgasbord of DC content on DC Universe and also on the CW. So I literally watch more DC content than people think. But Ezra Miller does not need to be the Flash. For the reasons you mentioned about him punching that lady, they should have just axed him then. And every time I see them, all I think of is Credence Barebones from Fantastic Beasts. So I can't get that out of my head. And he didn't do a good job to me.
No, look,
I prefer Grant Gustin.
Look, Grant Gustin is phenomenal as a Flash because he's got that boyish, like, oh gee, I'm the Flash kind of thing, which I think is perfect. You know, and Ezra Miller, I didn't like the fact when the Flash showed up in all those movies that there was so much lightning everywhere, just crisping everything. It's like no one would want the Flash anywhere near them. It's like, dude, I just bought my new PS5 and your Flash ass just fried it. You owe me $500.
Yeah, and I mean, when you look at the running, it's just so ugly. Like
he ran like a 4-year-old kid.
His arms are flopping. His arms are flopping up and down. He just does not do it for me as the Flash. He just doesn't. I had somebody talking to somebody today, and they were like, maybe you could bring Grant Gustin. And I was like, yeah, you could, but I said, wait a minute. You really could make Grant Gustin the Flash in the movies because if you look at the DC crossover we just got on the CW, Ezra Miller was on that episode in costume, so that means he's a part of continuity. So you could just easily say, you know, sweep him out under the rug, you know, and just bring on Grant Gustin or get us another actor. I just do not like Ezra Miller as a Flash. He didn't do it for me.
No, I agree. So, all right, so going back to Michael Keaton then, so I guess, you know, is he going to be Batman Beyond, old man Batman, or is he going to be, you know, the Flashpoint? Is he going to be not? Oh my God, I'm blanking on Bruce Wayne's dad's name. His dad.
I think it was Henry or something like that.
I don't know.
We've seen it so many times. But what Batman will he be? That's an amazing question. It's up in the air, and the reason I say it's up in the air because you're putting out another Batman movie with Sparkles, you know, playing the role, Edward Patterson. And where does this fit?
He says Sparkles? I just caught that.
So where does this fit? Where does this fit? You have this Batman, and now you're saying Michael Keaton is Batman. So does that make Sparkles Batman? Does that make him Batman Beyond, or is he his own Batman?
Oh, Thomas Wayne. Thomas Wayne. That's Batman's dad.
There you go.
That's Bruce's dad. Thomas.
Where does this line up? You know, and that's the problem I've always had with the DCEU. If you're telling me that this is your established universe, I need to see that this is your established universe. If you want to do solo movies by themselves, do that. If you want to do Universal connected movies, do that. So to tell me you're bringing Michael Keaton to play Batman, and to tell me you got another Batman movie coming out, and to tell me this is going to be a Flashpoint movie, I get the whole, you know, multiverse thing. I could take that as an answer and walk away. But I don't know. I don't know.
Well, you know, it's funny because the DC universe is fantastic with the multiverse. The Marvel universe, not so much, because when they tried to dip their toe into it with the end of the Infinity Gauntlet, it was weird. They tried to do some weird, you know, Back to the Future kind of crap, but then Doctor Strange was supposed to be into the multiverse, and I'm curious as to what the hell that's going to be, if that's supposed to be their jumping off point. But I've got more faith in what DC's done with their multiverse, because they're a more steadied hand, because they've got a better, I don't know, I guess they've got more practice at it. Just talking about like Legends of Tomorrow and things like that. They know a little bit about that. I would have more faith in them pulling this off than, you know, the whole Doctor Strange into the multiverse thing.
But see, even then, you have to separate that. Because that's the TV. The TV does fantastic. But the movies, Warner Brothers, the people that are over the movies, they don't know what they're doing.
No, they don't.
It's apparent. It's apparent. Greg Berlanti and that whole team over there at the CW and all that, TV is top notch. But when it comes to the movies, they still need a Kevin Feige. over there.
Everybody needs a Kevin Feige.
I need a Kevin Feige for my personal life.
Yeah, you're right. We're visiting with Malcolm Banks of Fandoms Anonymous. Malcolm, it's funny you bring up the CW. You were telling me before you came on the air that you got some little side gig going on with them. What's that about?
Yeah, man, it's coming. I'm not gonna put too much out on it yet, but if you're in the Gulf Coast area, me and the Gulf Coast CW are getting acquainted. I'll say that much.
All right.
It's gonna be beautiful.
So I guess getting back to DC real quick though, I guess looking at what they plan to do, I guess that'll be interesting because we never really heard much more about what's going to be happening with Ezra Miller, if he's still got a job or not, and it seems
absolutely.
So I think that will probably maybe determine which way this thing goes, because also we've got the whole COVID thing still going on. So they were shooting for 2021. I don't think that's probably going to happen now. Or no, 2022. They were looking for June 2022. So
right.
I don't know.
And they might keep him because I feel like Warner Brothers is trying to make Ezra Miller the poster boy.
For what?
You know, he's in Fantastic Beasts. He has a major role in that, and he's over here in playing Flash.
I guess
you know.
Yeah, I don't know. The video speaks for itself. I don't know. I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I want him out.
Yeah. Let's move on to something. I guess. Well, I don't know. It's not as laid back either. But Cards Against Humanity. They. I guess it was early in June. There was a lot of talk about sexism and racism in the workplace up in their Chicago office. Max Temkin, who was one of 8 creators for the Cards Against Humanity empire. So apparently he's no longer working with them. He's still getting some of the some money because he's a co-creator of that. But it was funny when I first saw that. I was kind of shocked by it because the Cards Against Humanity crew have just kind of made their bones by flaunting authority, but specifically also kind of just going against. I don't know. I try to avoid politics, but there ain't no way to avoid this. They hate Trump, and a lot of people enjoy that. And I don't know. I guess they're not mutually exclusive, but they donate a lot to charity. So even though the game is raunchy as hell, and look, bro, you're in Mobile. You and I have been at a lot of like MobiCons and things like that. Usually in Alabama, if you see people playing Cards Against Humanity, I would advise walking away. But that's just me.
Oh, yeah.
That's just me. I think Cards Against Humanity, you kind of find out about people. But some of the stuff that they did, while they bought plots of land where the wall was supposed to go up. They bought out an entire Chinese factory for a week to give everybody a day off. Then they're donating all this money to charity. Where one day they just simply said, "Hey, it's Black Friday. We're having a sale. You can buy the same cards you love for $5 more," which I thought was brilliant because people kept doing it. And then one year they dug a hole in the ground, and as long as people were donating money, they would continue digging a hole in the ground, and they made $100,000, Malcolm. I mean, for God's sakes, let's go start digging a hole and see if we make any money. But Cards Against Humanity,
let's do it right now.
They make some bank on that. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on that situation with Cards Against Humanity? I mean, I don't know. Maybe I have trouble balancing what they've done and what happened there. Is it a one-off? Is it an anomaly, or is it something indicative or more pervasive?
You cannot make the game Cards Against Humanity and not have any type of tension in that workplace. I mean,
I guess a brainstorming session is going to be pretty bad.
There's no way that people come to Cards Against Humanity headquarters and say, "Hey guys, let's do work. Let's make all these raunchy stuff on these cards."
Hold on, wait. I got to apologize to Mobile real quick because somebody just texted me, "Dude, you're a jerk." All right, that's not the whole city of Mobile. All right, shut up.
Hey, okay. But yeah, there's absolutely no way that nobody goes to that job and leaves there. I'm fine with what we did today. Somebody leaves there with a chip on their shoulder. And for it to just be surfacing now, because like all the great things you just mentioned, I didn't even know anything about digging a hole for $100,000.
Oh, yeah, dude, they did a bunch of stuff.
You would think that workplace is absolutely fine. But when I look at it in depth, I mean, that's all I got. There's no, you can't tell me that there's no tension in that place with what they do at that job. You know?
Yeah, I guess so. When you put it like that, because they are throwing around a whole bunch of ideas, and at some point somebody's going to go home and be like, you know what this mother bleeper said to me today? You know what he said to me?
Somebody's getting the side eye in those boardrooms where they're writing stuff on the board.
Yeah, you know. Oh, see, and look, here's another thing they did. They sold actual bull crap. They in 2014 for $6 a bag, they sold actual bull feces at $6 a piece. 30,000 people bought actual cow dung, and they mailed it to you. And it wasn't like fake cow dung. They went out and collected real cow dung. I mean, that's some brand power right there, man. That's some brand power.
Who knew that bull crap was so cheap?
Who knew? Hey, politicians knew. They shovel it all day long. Oh man! So that's a good point. I guess you would think that if they're sitting around trying to come up with these cards, somebody's going to get pissed off. All right, Malcolm, hold tight. Let me knock out a break. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Malcolm Banks of the Fandoms Anonymous YouTube channel and so more. This is The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO. We'll be right back.
To the Week in Geek on the radio. This is the radio, yes?
Yes, it is, Starfire. This is The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Twig Radio. Whoa. I'm on Twitter at Producer D2. Let's go back. We continue our top nerd news segment with our special guest host tonight, Malcolm Banks of Fandoms Anonymous. Where can people follow you again? Where can people follow you again, Malcolm?
Man, you can follow me all over social media on Facebook and YouTube at Fandoms Anonymous, same thing. On Instagram, it's at Fandoms_Anonymous17. And I believe it's the same thing on TikTok. I mean, I kind of went a little mini viral on TikTok the other day, Dave.
What did you do?
Man, okay, so I'm a big Power Rangers fan, if you guys don't already know that. And there was a new episode of the new season of Power Rangers. And I've reached that age where I can't watch a full Power Ranger season, but I just watch the important episodes for talking sakes. So apparently Jason, the original Red Ranger, came back on the episode, and he morphed into the Red Ranger again for the first time in over 20 years. And I just posted a clip of me being excited watching it while it was happening, and people are just going bananas. I got almost 50,000 views on that one video.
Up.
People just respond like, "Yeah, Jason." One guy, a lot of guys, grown men, saying, "Oh man, I got chills. I hadn't seen Jason morph since 1996." I'm like, "Yeah, man, it keeps coming. Every time I open my phone, I got like 11 notifications of grown men saying they got chills." Man,
look, I'm sorry. I will never forgive the Power Rangers because they are the ones who helped get Gargoyles canceled. It was the Power Rangers and O.J. Simpson, okay? Because the O.J. Simpson trial kept coming on, and Gargoyles kept getting bumped. And so if it wasn't for all that, Power Rangers was taking all the Gargoyles audience. I will never forgive them. I will never forgive them. Sorry. All right.
Yeah, that's where you can find me.
There you go. All right, let's get back to our top nerd news. Look, one of the things that broke on Friday was some Disney news. Pirates of the Caribbean has now announced that they're going to have another movie, and it's going to be starring Margot Robbie of Birds of Prey and DC fame. So I don't know. Look, I think that the Pirates of the Caribbean, Johnny Depp is great. Captain Sparrow's awesome. But Jesus, please stop making movies with him. Let him show up. Let him wander in the back of the camera, drunk somewhere, or let's see him, floating by, playing with his dinghy or riding his dinghy. Either which way, give us something new. And I'm totally cool with this, but apparently the internet is not cool. They want more Johnny Depp. So what do you think, man?
Okay, Margot Robbie. I love her. She's beautiful. She's gorgeous. Let's get that out of the way first. Birds of Prey, no thanks. But do I love her as an actress? Absolutely. Do I feel like this is something that she could take? Yes, because she has showed her versatility in her career. Who else has showed wide versatility in their career? Johnny Depp. My friend Kevin Garlington, who works with us here at Fandoms, has always said something when it comes to casting. Actress or actor goes into an audition. They go into audition knowing that a studio is looking for something. If that person goes into the studio and does what the company and the studio and the company is looking for, that is the person that's going to get the job 100% of the time. Sometimes, of course, they'll take a chance, and then we've seen some horrible movies, and we've seen some great movies from chances being taken. But I believe, looking at the role, and of course we don't know what her character's name is going to be, but looking at it being Pirates of the Caribbean and her being the star, I believe she went in that audition room and gave them the versatility that we know Margot Robbie can give. Margot Robbie has been in stuff, and I didn't even know it was Margot Robbie. She just switches that good. And she's not at the level of Johnny Depp versatility because he's just been versatile since day one. But she is very versatile. And at first when I heard it, I was like, I don't remember all that. But then I sat and I used my adult thinking and I said, you know what? I can see it. And that's based on how she's been moving around in movies. She went from Harley Quinn, to I think she was in that scary thriller movie that she did, where she was the Ready or Not, the hide and go seek movie where they're killing people. She went to that, and it takes talent to do that. So I'm for those reasons, I'm for it. Of course, we hadn't seen the final product. But for those reasons, I'm for it.
And it's like people are just upset because they're not going to have more Johnny Depp. I'm like, Jesus, we've already had 5. And even Johnny Depp was kind of like, really? We're doing this again? How big's the paycheck? Right. Oh, okay. Well, it's Disney money.
Never mind.
Who's going to turn down Disney money? Nobody.
No, but I wouldn't. I've always said, put me in a movie. Just let me be the guy that's screaming and running down the street from the mummy. You can put me in every movie, every Marvel movie, and I'll do that same role.
Oh, man. All right, so look, let's keep on Disney. So Disney Splash Mountain, they're going to be changing the theme. And look, we've been seeing a big change kind of across the country right now, where just here in New Orleans, the Saints are going to change. They own Dixie Brewing Company. They're going to change the name of the beer. There's a lot of things that are just kind of, going across the country. And, Disney, let's be honest, they've got a lot of problematic things that have been around there. I mean, this in particular, I mean, I don't know all the stuff, but they're going to go with The Princess and the Frog, which I'm kind of shocked that they haven't done anything with that movie yet. Anyway,
Exactly.
But it did take them forever. I guess I'll say this in poor Disney's defense, not that they need any defense, but it took them forever to make the damn Ariel ride, even though it was boring as hell. It took them forever to make it, Under the Sea. Who doesn't want to just hear that? Under the sea for 5 minutes in the air conditioning when you're in friggin' Orlando.
I would.
Yeah, exactly, because I'm tired of hearing It's a Small World, so give me Under the Sea for 5 minutes. So, yeah, I don't know. I think, I don't know if they're changing it because of the racial undertones of Splash Mountain. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, that was something that they mentioned, that is why. And when you go back and you look at that artwork and that piece, when you go back and look at any of those pieces from back then, a lot of it was rooted in those undertones. I mean,
like
it was
Song of the South.
That was that was the time. That was at that time, that's what was going on. Of course, we don't have to get too deep in it, but that's what was going on. And we're at a point today, in today's world, if you start out like that, it's automatically going to get flagged. But so there's a lot of stuff that people are going back and looking at, and Disney is right for doing so. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, there should have been a Princess and the Frog theme there at Disney World. I think that would be good, but I don't want Disney World to make gumbo. I'm sorry.
No,
I don't
God,
want them to make gumbo.
My God. And definitely don't share the
gumbo,
videos. Please. Oh, God.
I don't want them to make gumbo. Now, unless you uproot some people from the New Orleans, the South, that really know gumbo, and you put them in that position and let them be the people in the kitchen, then that's a different story. And then you got me there.
Yeah,
there might be some budding business down there in New Orleans, and they get their break by being the new head people that cook.
Yeah, they never do that though, area. Because all that stuff is prepackaged, man. You know, they find ways to charge you $80 for a cinnamon roll, and just they slap a Beauty and the Beast sticker on it. Yeah, right. Here you go. $10,
here's a Mickey
please.
Mouse pancake. Let me get your right finger.
We got Malcolm Banks here with us from Fandoms Anonymous. All right, one last thing before we roll out of here. So Dungeons and Dragons, you know, obviously, you know, we're talking a lot of race because obviously this is what's going on right now. And I think if anybody doesn't want to talk about it, well, you know, up theirs. I think that there's stuff that needs to be talked about. And it was interesting because this article came across a week or two ago. And Dungeons and Dragons, you know, they've got all the, you know, the Kickstarters and there's always the I forgot the word for it, but like, you know, the open licensing that people can, you know, add more stuff to. And one of these groups put out a Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition rules update where it's alternative rules to racial ability and score bonuses. And it's about ancestry and culture. And it's funny because before you came on the air, you and I were chit-chatting before about this, where it's like when you start playing D&D, you don't think much of it. When you're a young kid, it's like, okay, I'm going to make a mage. He throws fireballs. We're going to fight orcs and hobgoblins and find treasure. Huzzah, let's do this. But as you get older, you start playing more. You start role-playing. And one of the things that this does is it acknowledges, you know, some of the... I guess part of me is just doesn't want to say it was all deep-seated and maybe malicious, but it was easier for rules back then to just be like, okay, if you're an elf, you get +1 dexterity, yada, yada, yada. But the more you want to do storytelling, and who would, you know, it's always only elves and orcs, you know, do the horizontal mambo with other, you know, species. So what if you want a half-orc, half-gnome? That's just weird, but hell, you know what? Who denies love, Malcolm? Who denies love? If it's an orc and a gnome,
you're right.
You know, and one of the cool parts about this with the culture and the ancestry is that it still has like these little stat bonuses, but it also has, imagine that a halfling that grew up around orcs where they value physical strength and you're a tiny little halfling. But you know what?
Right.
Maybe you bulk up and, you know, you're like Danny DeVito on steroids. Who knows? But
yeah,
I thought that was really cool because it even started acknowledging kind of like the some of the more deeper rooted sort of racial undertones for like dark elves and drow and orcs, and where they needed a faceless thing for people to kill. And then it sort of, I guess, continues the perceptions of races having certain abilities that make it better than the other. And I think at the end of the day, that's a lot of this conversation is about that, because there are still people running around with certain flags and thinking they're better than everybody.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and it goes to show that we're living currently in a culture where a lot of people are becoming aware in a sense. And the good thing about it is they're taking that awareness and doing something about it for the better. That's all I want. I just positivity all around, from all facets of life, from all groups, from all backgrounds, creeds, nationalities. It should just be about positivity. And I think a lot of these companies, including Dungeons and Dragons, are looking at how things look and realizing, you know what, we should make a change. And you would think something like Dungeons and Dragons, who is deeply rooted in, you know, culture, and is responsible for a lot of, you know, jokes on different TV shows and a lot of things in movies and in just geek and nerd culture, period, and even pop culture, that, you know, you got to look at Stranger Things. The whole first season was based off of Dungeons and Dragons.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And it's one of those things where, you know, it boils down to recognizing and taking action, and I commend them for doing that, and any other company that's also doing that as well. So that's my take on it. Kudos to them.
No, look, and and that's something that I think a lot of people are doing more, because it's always kind of been like, oh, thoughts and prayers. Well, thoughts and prayers ain't gonna help our asses out. Ain't gonna fix nothing that's wrong right now.
Right.
That's the soapbox message for tonight. There we go. That's for everybody. So, all right, Malcolm, look, thank you so much for your time tonight. Once again, tell the folks about all that stuff. And it's funny, too, because one of the things that I saw, you don't just do your Fandoms Anonymous. So that's everything, because I saw y'all were talking about Drew Brees. And, look,
oh, yeah.
I do the sports station, too, and I'm just kind of like steeped in it. And so that, if people are looking for opinions on pretty much anything, they can track you down. So how do they do that, Malcolm?
Definitely, man. You guys, we're Fandoms Anonymous. That's FANDOMS ANONYMOUS. We're all over social media on YouTube and Facebook and TikTok and Instagram. You can catch us there, man. We have all types of content, from interviews to trips to conventions to movie reviews to TV show reviews to complaining about what Warner Brothers executives are doing. We're there. We're there for you guys, man. So just check us out. We got some new stuff coming up, some new content. And hey, man, we're here. We're here. We're having fun. And conventions are starting to come back. So we're going to one in Huntsville, Alabama.
Wait, what?
In about 2 weeks or so.
Shut up. Take me with you. Seriously, where?
Come on.
In Huntsville, Alabama?
Huntsville, Alabama. Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo. They were supposed to do it in April, and they hurried up and moved it to July.
Wow. Do you think it's still going to happen, though? Seriously? I mean, this is just me and you talking on the radio.
Yeah,
live.
It's happening.
Okay.
I know the guy. I know the team personally. They're doing it.
Man, from your mouth to God's ears, because, dude, I'm kind of worried because we're seeing all these spikes across the country. I am a little nervous that people are going to start getting cold feet again, though, and be like,
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
They're making sure they got a lot of precautions in place. I trust the guys that are over that convention. It's already been mandated that everybody has to wear a mask when you're coming in. So it's going to be kind of cool to see how this is going to play out. Celebrity signed up for it. They're coming, and hey, let's do it.
Yeah, you're right. All right, the whole reason I'm playing Jurassic Park is because Colin Trevorrow is supposed to be doing an Atlantis movie. I don't know. He's screwing with dinosaurs, and I'm so tired of Jurassic Park movies. Dear God. All right, Malcolm, always a pleasure, brother. Keep in touch, man.
Most definitely, man.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right, stick around, guys. Skungy's coming up with his pick of the week. This is The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO.
This is Pinky of Pinky and the Brain. And when Brain and I are not planning to take over the world, which is pretty much never, but when that happens, the only show we listen to, or rather the only show Brain allows me to listen to, is The Week in Geek on WRNO. Nerf.
Welcome back into The Week in Geek, your source for geek and pop culture news that's trending now. I want to thank our guest, Malcolm Banks, for joining us in the first half hour of the show. And now it's everyone's favorite time of the evening.
Skungy's Pick of the Week.
I am not what you would call a handsome man.
I love lamp.
Skungy's Pick of the Week.
He might be an idiot savant.
Skungy, what's shaking, bacon?
You're gonna have me tear up. Everybody's favorite part.
It is.
You love me.
No,
it only took you 6 years to love me, Dave.
It's really a lie. It's just called, building up the audience, making them think that this is a segment worthy of their time. So you know what? You're on the clock now. Make it worthy of their time.
So my pick of the week is Persona 5 Royals.
Persona 5 Royals? Is that a band?
No, it sounds
Persona
like it,
5, not Personified. Persona 5.
Yes.
Is that like fractured but whole? Is it a play on words? Is it a play on words?
No, it is not a play on words.
All
well,
right.
it may be a little bit.
All right.
So now I'll come up front and say this game actually came out in 2016.
Jeez, and what have you been doing?
But this is the Royals edition of it. It's so basically like the best of, like a remastered Game of the Year type edition of it.
Okay.
So I never played this game when it came out in 2016. This game is a JRPG, which is short for Japanese RPG.
Okay.
I don't get to play these type of games anymore because they are long games. This particular game clocks in at about 130 hours.
Shut the front door.
I don't have that type of time to invest and rightly give it the attention that it deserves, because these games really do deserve that attention. We want to play them. I used to play them all the time back in the day. But this one I decided through some friends, they're like, hey, look, try it out. And I did. And you know what? I am ashamed that it took me so long to actually play this game.
All right. So it's good?
It is really good. A lot of people actually consider this game to be the best Japanese RPG ever made.
All right. What's so great about it?
To give you a short rundown of it, it's a turn-based, RPG, like most of them are. You play these personas where you have, you go into people's dreams. So they have people in the real world, who are doing bad things. And in their dream world, they create these castles and these palaces where you are going into these things in their dreams, basically, to try to tear down their palaces and make them admit to the bad things they're doing in real life.
Okay, all right.
So you have these personas in this game world, in the dream world, but you have these personas that are different, mythical creatures. Sometimes you have like a centaur or like a fairy or whatnot, or a demon and whatnot, and those are you can use those magic abilities to attack people. And the cool thing is that you can collect more personas. The enemies that you're fighting in the game are actually personas, so you can actually, like, if you knock them down, you can run up and talk to them and convince them to join your side. And then you can form them into even more powerful personas.
It sounds like Nightmare on Elm Street 3, like Dream Warriors, except it's a good guy. He's defending the world through dreams.
And the story is really, really rich and deep. I mean, you have to be at 130 hours. And these are people and there's some subject, I'm going to say this right now, the subject matter in this game, number one, it's Japanese. It's very Japanese. So there's some things about it where I'm playing it and I'm like, why would anybody allow this to happen in the real world? But apparently the culture is different.
What?
For instance, there's a teacher who is verbally and physically abusing his students. He's a gym teacher.
All right, go ahead. Corporal punishment rules.
Yeah, so how is everybody letting this happen? But he's the winning volleyball coach and the number one, so nobody says anything. Well, you go into his dreams to convince him that he's doing bad and confess everything he's doing.
Nice. Well, it's like half the audience is going, yeah, corporal punishment. The other half is like, oh my God, you monster.
Oh my God. But the beauty of this game is not that. The beauty of the game is every day. It's a time management game because you do that after school. You actually are a student in school. So you have to go to school.
It's Dream Warriors vigilante style.
Basically, you go to school and you go to class, but you have these confidants that you meet, and they are sometimes going into the dream world with you, and you can build bonds with them. But you have only so much time between each day after school. So what are you going to do? Are you going to go and study and improve your knowledge, or are you going to go to work and get money that you can buy more things, or rent a DVD, or play a game, or you can actually hang out with your friends, which build your bond with them.
Rent a DVD.
Yeah, you can seriously rent a DVD and watch a movie, but it increases your, like, hey, how to pick up chicks is legitimately one of the DVDs, which increases your charm stat.
Ooh, charming.
So there's so much to do in this game, and it's all time management. It's great because the one way one person is going to play is going to be completely different than somebody else does, because I want to work on my relationship with character A, and somebody's like, well, I want to work on my character B relationship, or I want to work more, or I want to study more. So there's so much to do with it, and it's really hard to pigeonhole this game into one kind of genre. It's something you really need to experience. But, I mean, it's honestly just something very, very enjoyable. I didn't think I was going to like it because I typically don't like, it's very anime-like, and I'm not a big fan of it, but I actually kind of fell in love with it. It's very charming.
All right, price and platform as we listen to Nightmare on Elm Street.
So it is going to be on the PlayStation. It's on PlayStation 4 only. It is $59.99 for the Royal Edition, which, like I said, is like a remastered edition of it. But you can get the regular version of it, which came out in 2016, for the PlayStation 3 or the PlayStation 4, and that version is only $20.
There you go. All right, so play Persona 5 Royals, a.k.a. Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
Dream Warriors. There you go. All right, before we run out, let's jump into some Marvel Avengers talk. The Marvel Avengers War Table came out, I guess, what was it? Friday or Thursday? I don't know. Whatever.
It was this week. It came out. It was in the middle of the week.
And so they dropped a new trailer on us. You got a little bit more information about what's going on. We found out who the big bad is. But here, take a listen to this.
We're fixing the damage the Avengers did all those years ago. Inhumans are sick. Unlimited power, that's dangerous. It's lethal. You are lucky to be alive. Come on, Kamala. Let AIM help you.
I'll take my chances. What if the Avengers were set up? I think you should see for yourself.
This better be good.
He totally locked Cap in the reactor room, and then he tried to jack the Chimera.
Son of a...
Have you all completely lost your senses?
What? Where were you while the world went to hell?
This is our fault. All of ours. You really think the world is better without us?
Yes. See, that's always been your problem. Running from who you are, what you are.
I am warning you.
This is exactly what Tarleton wants!
You struggle against the unstoppable tide of progress, Avengers. Power cannot be controlled. It has to be destroyed. I will rid the Earth of superpowers, even if it has to end with me.
I will kill you all and then myself because everyone has power and I want no one to have it. Yes. Is that correct? So, all right, let's. You got Kamala, who is half Inhuman, Miss Marvel, and half. She's got weird shape shifting, big slappy hands. They're crazy. But the big thing we found out was that George Tarleton, because at first I didn't know who she was saying when she was talking to the guy that opened up the trailer about join AIM, and. Well, apparently George Tarleton was the first original MODOK, mental organism designed only for killing. So MODOK looks like a floating potato, and but he can kill you with his brain, which is kind of cool. And he's pretty powerful. But this is somebody we've never seen in the MCU. So I don't know, this might be pretty cool, because at first when I wasn't sure who the hell it was, when they said AIM, I thought it might have been some Iron Man 3 throwback with Killian, the guy, who did all that. That was Iron Man 3 sucked.
It was terrible.
So, but I'm getting off topic. But this game looks good, and you got a new, a new villain that, probably because it's Marvel, they're not going to, expound upon him and give him any real layers. But you never know. They do sometimes better in the games. In the games,
remember, this isn't the MCU.
Correct.
It's not the comic book. This is going to be completely separate from both entities, which is really cool, because that means that they can take from stuff from the MCU and the comic books and make it something unique.
Well, and it's funny because at first in the trailer they talked about, in San Francisco or after the San Francisco disaster. I'm like, what the hell happened in San Francisco? But apparently, so what it is, they were creating a new base there, and they launched their own helicarrier. I guess it's called the Chimera, and poor Cap got stuck in the reactor room, and then they destroyed it, because then it took down half the city. The Avengers get disbanded, and thus Kamala finds out about this, and then...
It's like 5 years after that event, and they call it A-Day. They call it Avengers Day, because they blame the Avengers for all the stuff that's going on, and that's what allows AIM to come in and basically police the entire city.
Right. And I think, that's something that poor DC found out the hard way, that if you're going to have a big Superman fight, don't do it in a crowded city because, the death toll will be catastrophic. So, this is what happens. This is what happens when gods fight among mere mortals. But, I mean, this game looks pretty good. The war table thing so we found out more about what this game is going to be, and it looks like it's pretty good, because I remember when it first came out, I'm like, who the hell are these posers that are supposed to be the Avengers? But they are, and I'll give them credit for this. It's a ballsy move, because you want to separate it from the MCU, so you got new voices. They look a little bit different as well. So I'll applaud them on that for trying to make, to separate themselves.
Yeah, I mean, and that was the biggest problem. There was a lot of hate when this was announced at E3 last year.
Yeah.
And I was a little skeptical, too. I mean, I'm not so much on the aesthetics or anything, but I was like, all right, well, how is this going to play? And then I got to play an early build last September of it, and it kind of took away any reservations that I had of it. And I was very glad to know, because I watched the entire 30-minute thing of the war table, and it didn't just talk about the trailer. It actually showed gameplay mission, and then it showed some of the war zone and character progression of it.
Okay.
It's reiterated the fact that when I played it a while ago, each Avenger will play different.
Okay.
It's a lot of times when you play these games, it's like, all right, I'm playing Thor, but Thor plays exactly the same as Iron Man or this. And no, that is not the case. Every single character has different move sets. They have different specials. They have different feels to them.
Well, you would hope so. I mean, yeah. I mean, you would hope so. You would think
Hulk, believe it or not, is like, you would think Hulk would be. No, Hulk is super fast.
Well, yeah, he's got a lot of muscles.
And he can run and jump fast, and he picks up enemies, and he beats them with each other.
Puny god.
But Thor can, fly around, but he uses Mjolnir, and he can actually throw it down, and he can upgrade his ability where it can hit multiple enemies at once, or he could throw it, and it can hold an enemy down on the ground, because, of course, they can't pick it up.
And they just beat him with Mjolnir and Mew Mew.
Exactly.
It's Mew Mew.
Mew Mew. And then Miss Marvel plays very much different, because her play style actually is that you got to remember she's just starting out, so she's a little bit clumsy.
Yeah, she's a kid.
She's not that she's a teenager, superhero. So all of her moves and everything are not as refined as the other characters, and that is goes to show really great character development.
Cool. All right. So I mean, I guess. So far, this looks pretty good. Did they give a date? Because I didn't watch the whole thing. Did they give a vague notion of when we might be seeing this?
Oh yeah, it comes out this September.
Oh really?
It's coming out this September. It's already set for that. It's I can't tell you how excited I am about it, because it's got RPG elements to it, because every character has their own skill tree. Every character has gear options, kind of like how Injustice had, where you can add gear, and the character of Thor that you play is going to be completely different than the character of Thor I play, because I'm going to improve him in different ways that you do.
Oh, well, that's cool. I just hope they have the kid and play flat top hats for the AIM flunkies. That's just what I want.
Well, they probably will, because one of the things they talked about was different customization of costumes. As you play through the game, you will get different looks from, the 80 years of Marvel. For the Hulk will have they showed him in his normal Hulk. They showed him in the green scar from World War Hulk. I mean, from Planet Hulk.
Yeah.
And they also showed him as Mr. Fix-It when he was the Gray Hulk.
Nice. Yeah, Abomination shows up. It looks like it's going to be pretty cool. They're going to have a lot of more baddies and stuff we haven't seen in a while, so that'll be cool. All right, Skungy. So let's knock out our final break, and we'll come back. We'll wrap up the show. This is the Week in Geek. Yeah, this is DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. A nightmare on my street. This is the Week in Geek on WRNO.
That began the nightmare on my street.
Hello, creeps. It's me, John Kassir, the voice of the Crypt Keeper, and you're listening to The Week in Geek.
Welcome back into The Week in Geek, your source for geek and pop culture news that's trending now. I'm your host, D Squared. Now, as always, we want to strongly urge you to check out the Facebook page, facebook.com/The Week in Geek. Check out our website at twigradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twigradio, and the Instagram's The Week in Geek. Now, Skungy, how can people listen to this lovely show?
Well, if you missed any part of tonight's show, or if you want to hear your favorite part again, you can always find us on Spreaker.com or download Spreaker for your smartphone or tablet. We're also on iTunes, YouTube, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, and the iHeartRadio app.
That is correct. All right, before we roll out tonight, something I didn't get into in the top nerd news, that Marvel is rumored to have plans to bring Firestar into the MCU. For those that don't remember Firestar, it was back in 1981 that debuted Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, which was Spider-Man, Iceman, and Firestar that were living in an off-campus apartment, throwing raging keggers and fighting evil. So I don't know. It's interesting because Firestar was pretty cool. I mean,
yeah,
and they made her.
Cool that
they made her for that cartoon.
Yeah, you're from a cartoon. You're taking a character that was never part of the comic books or any movies, and now just making them part of the MCU. That's really cool.
And so, she had a bunch of comic books after the fact. But when I first saw this article, the first thing that popped in my head was Zendaya, Michelle Jones, a.k.a. MJ from Spider-Man Homecoming. And I thought to myself, it's like, she's not really Mary Jane Watson, but she is obviously the MJ for the MCU. And I would like to see her somehow become Firestar, and maybe they move in together and get a little, off-campus apartment when they go to college. And I think it would be pretty cool, because then you would add an old homage type of a character to the new Marvel canon. I think that would be pretty cool. And plus, Zendaya is I like her as MJ, and I think it would make it more than just, hey, she's not Mary Jane, but she's his girlfriend. But I think it would be pretty cool, because I do not want to see another Spider-Man cry about losing, his uncle or, his girlfriend, like we saw in Spider-Man 2, whichever one it was with Garfield.
I completely agree. I mean, number one, she's proven herself to be a very good actress, and she commands that role so well. I mean, you really like her. She's very likable.
She does that deadpan nerds.
Yeah, exactly. They're very cynical, and that's what everybody loves about her. So it would be great to see her in a bigger role, and especially what we don't know. Everything's up in the air after the end of Far From Home.
Right. Yeah.
What's going to happen with the Spider-Man character? That it would be cool to have, to add that on to it.
Right. He's got busted, but we'll find out more in Morbius. All right, Skungy, I'm not going to fire you this week. All right, guys, this has been The Week in Geek. Till next time, keep your nerd flag raised high. He arrives just in time. Spider-Man, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Wealth and fame, he's ignored. Action is his reward to him. Life is a great big bang. Wherever there's a hang, you'll find a Spider-Man.